Good morning, Sin City, and welcome to another episode of Social Media Show. I'm your host, Sam Dever, here with a very special guest today, Christian Torres. Christian, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. For people that don't know you, how'd you end up here out in Vegas?
Well, I got here 13 years ago, and it's pretty young. Family just brought me over here, and since then, I worked with a lot of, mostly like worked inside of the casinos, just doing like customer service stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, I kind of branched out and I've done mostly like marketing, and I don't know, dabbled in a few niches, which we'll probably talk a little bit later. Which industry specifically, but nowadays I mostly do like lead generation marketing, mostly what we call pay per call. So I'll generate phone calls and I'll redirect them to small business owners. So mostly right now I'm focusing more on the construction industry, but I own everything. I own all the marketing, and they just pay for the phone calls, the leads, the real live people calling them.
Okay, now would this be considered SEO, or is this just a form of SEO with the lead generation? Because some people may get that a little confused.
Sure. So originally, I used to charge for like websites. I used to charge like small businesses for SEO services and like the traditional internet marketing services. But just from, if I look at it, trying to look at it more from like a big picture business perspective, I don't own any assets. It's a service, and it's a very, useful, like if you rank one for a specific term that your ideal customers are looking for, those people are going to go to your website, and
Right.
Ideally you'd want to convert them into a phone call. But, from my perspective, I can charge a company one time for SEO, then that's it. Like they'll be at the top, and some SEO companies, they charge like a monthly fee to keep them up at number one. But I didn't want to really do that model. So now what I'm focusing on is like I own the website, I own the SEO rankings, I own everything, all the graphics, and my clients, they get the phone calls,
You own the real estate,
the virtual real estate.
the virtual real estate.
So,
No, absolutely. And, the beauty of your business is instead of going out trying to convince people why they should be buying this product or service from you, you've already got the people that are ready to buy the product or service.
Sure.
You're just handing them over to the people that provide that product or service with which in essence, SEO, you want people that don't know your brand name, that don't know anything else about it. They just want what you sell.
Yeah.
And so you're just handing that, right? I'm sure these people will gladly pay you for those leads.
Sure. It's one of those things, what do they say in sales, where it's like people don't go to a hardware store to buy, like, they don't really want like the drill bit per se, but they want a hole to be able to drill, because like without, like that's
Right.
the whole thing. So with my website, I'm not really talking about like a big company, oh, we're this, we're that, or say, hey, do you need concrete in your backyard? Hey, are you having a problem with this? Do you need blah, blah, blah? I'm talking from my perspective, customer's perspective. And then from there, I'm getting them to call. That's like the biggest thing. Like I want them to do, like even with some of the social media stuff, like on the website, I have like nothing to like that leads to a fan page or anything like that, because I don't want them to get distracted. I want them to call. I don't want them to do anything else but
Right.
that.
So you make the phones ring.
Yeah. So, and then I have a software that tracks, records, and forwards the phone calls. So, like, there's a company that I use. I use their API. It's a kind of a technical programming, but it's essentially what lets me do. I can create 702 numbers dirt cheap, like $1 a month cheap, and then within the software, I can redirect the phone calls. I can do whatever I want it to do. So with basically the software. And then from there, I can show my clients, okay, here's the phone calls that came in every month, and here's the recordings of it. So, I typically give them like 2 minutes to qualify the leads to see if they're a legitimate, ideal customer for them. And then from there, I'll charge them, my monthly fees per lead kind of thing.
Wow, that's such a cool business, and that's something you can it's virtual. I mean, you don't have to technically be in Vegas to have this business
Sure.
up and running. You can be in Fiji, and have the Vegas market unlocked. So that's so cool.
Sure.
So cool. So no, that's awesome. And where can people go to find, or get a hold of you to get a hold these types
So
of services?
I'm pretty picky with my clients. So I go and target specifically,
Okay.
especially in the construction industry. Right now, I'm
Right.
solely focused in the construction industry. So even though I can do it for everybody, like there's an old marketing term: if you try to talk to everyone, you talk to no one.
Right.
So I'm very specific on the ideal clients that I go after, and I do the targeting specifically,
Right.
and I'll email them. If they don't answer to my email, I'll cold call them. I'll send them direct mail. But so I'm pretty focused and disciplined on like going after specific verticals right now. So, but right now, like the main place, if you want to learn more about some of the stuff that I'm doing downtown and stuff like that, would be like my site, High Tech Torres. It's kind of my personal blog,
Okay.
and that I kind of update on some of the more stuff because I do marketing, but on the side stuff, I do a lot of stuff with downtown and helping startups get a little bit more focused on their marketing.
Perfect. Which leads me into my next question for you. That's how I met you, was at Startup Weekend, and I know you're involved in Vegas Give Camp. Could you tell us a little bit about that, your involvement downtown,
Sure.
and what all you do?
So originally, I got introduced to the whole downtown, like the Vegas Jelly and all that stuff through a friend who I actually met through a meetup like a few years back. He owns a software called Artisteer, and dude's balling out of control. Like he owns like a Lambo. He has like a condo in the Veer Tower at City Center.
Mm-hmm.
Balling out of control. Like he invited me to a party, and he told me like he invested in a few startups downtown, and he was like, yeah, you got to check out this thing downtown called like the Vegas Jelly. They do it every second Thursday back then of the month. And I was like, okay, I'll check it out. Probably 2 months went by. I'm like, okay, I'll actually go. And I went, and it was interesting because like everyone was very tech savvy, very entrepreneurial, and it was weird because some of the people I was associated with, like, they didn't really get the online world, or they weren't aware of like the marketing and the business. Like they didn't even understand like WordPress or anything like that. But when I talked to everybody downtown, they got it. Like I didn't have to explain myself.
Right.
So it felt like, okay, this is my crowd. These are my people right here. So that was really just awesome being around that crowd of like-minded people that understand technology, understand marketing, understand like what it takes to be an entrepreneur. So.
No, absolutely. And we were talking a little bit before the show about the Vegas Give Camp. That was so cool. You told me you put a website together in 4 hours?
Yeah. So on Sunday, there's Bonnie. She runs a nonprofit called Rock and Music Zoo. So if you go to rockandmusiczoo.org, that's the site we created for her. And so essentially the nonprofit is she helps young kids that want to learn like music and just kind of get it together, all the resources they need to learn music or to rent instruments and stuff like that. So I don't know, some bad incidents happened prior to that. Somebody held their website hostage, and they asked us, hey, can you do you want Steven, one of the guys who was running the whole Give Camp, Steve told us, hey, he went up to me, he's like, hey, do you want to be a hero? And I'm like, sure. I was like, all right. It's right. Like, what do you need me to do? So it's like, yeah, can you help her get her website up and running? And I was like, okay. So I installed WordPress. I partner up with a graphic designer who designed the logo and the little characters, like the little animals on the side. And we knocked it out in 4 hours. And that was kind of probably the fast, I've done a lot of websites in the past, but out of all the stuff I've done, that's probably the fastest implementation of from nothing to something
So you put on the cape and just went to work.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, not so much the cape, just kind of went, typed away. But.
And I had Sarah Gabriella and Tammy Belt, who seem to be pretty involved in that type of thing here in the Vegas community. And we had said it's kind of like Habitat for Humanity in a way where people go build houses real quick, except you're using your tech skills to help people build websites, maybe set up their social media, do things like that. So that's cool that you're out there doing stuff like that, giving back. No.
Yeah, it was not an awesome experience just being able to contribute and just really help, some of these nonprofits. And I don't know, it's weird because one of the first people I did a website for, this probably a few years ago, was a nonprofit, and just kind of being able to contribute that way. And for a website like that, I charged $700 easily. But it was just at some point, you have to kind of go back and just be able to contribute, and whether it's monetary or it's your skills or your insights, but being able to give back is just it gives a lot of satisfaction just being able to hey, I did something really, really good.
No, it really does. It really does. And that's going to help the Vegas community and help people here, promote their business, which in the end is going to help everybody too. So that's really cool. Really cool. Christian, we're about out of time here, but thank you so much for coming on the show. If you could leave us where the people can find you and what's your favorite part about social media.
So right now I do a lot of meetups. So right now I'm I'm the main organizer of All Things Web meetup and a new meetup called Lean Startup Circle. So
cool.
Within the startup community, there's this kind of methodology called the Lean Startup, and it's basically helping entrepreneurs kind of very streamline, taking a business idea to implementing and testing whether it's something that people actually want, so they don't waste time and effort and resources. So if they go to Meetup, search for that. That's the best way to find me.
Okay, cool. What's your favorite part about social media?
A favorite part of social media? Well, it's just being able to connect with everybody. So one of my favorite tools actually on Gmail, like I have like this little app called, Reportive. And whenever I get an email, like I can scroll over it and it shows me their profile, like their Facebook and everything. But just from that, like whenever I'm sending out emails, I can get like a real sense of who the person is, who I'm emailing or talking to. But even in social media, like whenever I go to like networking events, I can go and kind of do a little research and see the person individually. So I do a little bit of pre-networking. So whenever I go to live places, I can kind of understand who I'm talking to. So when I meet them face to face, even though I haven't met them, I kind of get a sense of who that person is.
That's interesting. You're the first person. No, that's true. Very true. That's a good feature too they have on there.
So, I don't use social media like typically a lot of people use it. I just use it more for, when I'm targeting specific people, I get more insights on that individual. And then, so it's kind of more, I guess, market research.
Market research.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're not a marketing guy, are you?
A little bit. Just a little bit.
All right. Well, Christian Torres, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing what all you have for us down the road.
Sure. Thanks for having me here.
Nope. No problem.